Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there is a ton of news stories to get into today, so let's start off talking about Paige, because Paige could be set for a shocking return to the ring. Now, of course, Paige has been retired since 2018 after suffering a serious neck injury. Shockingly, she had to retire at such a young age, but she could be set for a return to the ring, at least if you believe what she is saying. Now, there was previously a report that came out talking about Paige, talking about her contract with WWE expiring. Now, Paige in a Twitch stream revealed that her WWE contract was set to expire, or is set to expire, in June of next year, June of 2022. Now, the former WWE Divas champion announced her retirement from pro wrestling immediately after WrestleMania 34 in 2018. She's taken up several non-performing roles in the company ever since. That includes being the general manager of Smackdown, being a regular analyst on the FS1 show WWE Backstage. But this is what she had to say on her contract on her Twitch stream. She said, quote, "My contract is up in June of next year. Who knows if they would want to give me a new contract? Who's to say that they would want to? If they did, I'd love to have Twitch as part of the contract." Now, again, she is a former Divas champion, former Women's champion. Let's face it, she was one of the original spearheads of that whole women's evolution, revolution, whatever you want to call it in WWE. Her matches against the likes of Charlotte Flair and Natalya initially on that early stages of NXT. Not what groundbreaking, but they were certainly a real laying the foundation to have the likes of your Becky Lynch's, your Sasha Banks, your Baileys, your Charlotte Flairs. Paige was there first. And I think people often overlook that, and it's a fascinating hypothetical, isn't it, to think, where would she be right now? If she didn't have the neck issues that she had, where would she be in terms of WWE programming? Would she be on regularly on the show? I think she would, but would she be wrestling against your likes of your Sasha Bankses and your Charlotte Flairs and your Becky Lynches and your Asukas and your Baileys and all of these guys, Rhea Ripley, etc.? Would she be facing those guys? I think she would. So after that, this kind of story began to snowball from there. She mentioned, as I said, my contract is up in June of next year. Who knows if they would want to give me a new contract? Who's to say they would want to? If they did, I'd love to have Twitch as part of that contract. Now, Paige re-signed with WWE in November of 2019, with original reports at the time stating that she had signed on for another 4 years, but it looks to be even shorter than that. Of course, due to the neck injury, the former champion was forced into in-ring retirement back in, obviously she suffered the injury in December of 2017, but she officially retired in, I think it was just after April of 2018. Now, with the likes of other stars who were forced into early retirement and coming back, those names being Edge, Daniel Bryan, Christian Cage, making their own returns to the ring, Paige has noted it's been an inspiration for her to work her way back. Now, earlier yesterday, Paige tweeted out a comment that would indicate that she's potentially looking to wrestle once again. She said, quote, "I'm not done yet." Now, in an update, Paige did a Twitch stream yesterday as well and said she's working hard to come back to wrestling, according to Denise Salcedo of Instinct Culture. She said she wants it to be a surprise and she doesn't plan on telling anyone when it will happen, even though she just told a load of people that she plans on coming back. Nevertheless, Paige also noted that it's not happening tomorrow, but she's mentally ready for it to happen and plans to record her process. I would assume that would be in some kind of documentary, YouTube channel, Twitch thing, I don't know. So when it comes to Paige potentially coming back, look, Previously, I would have ruled it out. Previously, I would have said, there's no chance, neck injury. They said to Edge, if you fall over badly, you fall down the stairs or whatever, you could be paralyzed or maybe even worse. And I think they said the same to Paige, and it was even more jarring, I suppose, when it came to Paige because she was just so young when this all happened. You got to remember, she went on the road with WWE when she was 21. She got called up to the main roster when she was 21. And that was in 2014. So by the time 2018 comes around, she's 25 years of age. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing to retire in your mid-20s or late 20s is unbelievable, to be honest with you, considering the future she obviously had ahead of herself when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. So the positive thing about that, I would say, and this was my thought process at the time, the positive thing about that is she has time. And that was kind of the thing with Edge. Edge had to retire, I think, 37, 38? He had time. 10 years can pass and you still theoretically can make a return to the ring. It's the same when it comes to Paige. 10 years, 5 years can pass, and you can make a return to the ring. You've got time on your side to recover. And with the likes of people like Edge coming back, Daniel Bryan's a different situation because it was concussions. But when it comes to the likes of Edge coming back, and even someone like Sting, right? Who thought Sting would be coming back to wrestle? But he has. He's doing it right now. He wrestled on Dynamite a couple of weeks ago. He's wrestled at Double or Nothing and Revolution earlier this year. That's a guy in his 60s. Let alone someone that will be, still in her late 20s, early 30s at this point when it comes to Paige. It's unbelievable. So I think it is a real possibility. This is the thing when it comes to this kind of stuff. Again, previously, I would have almost been like WWE and just written it off and said there's no chance. It's not going to happen. But in reality, as time goes on, look, science and medical science catches up to us and we learn more about the human anatomy. We learn more about medicine and science, and surgery gets better and more precise. And these kind of injuries that were career enders, suddenly there is hope. There is hope once again. Now, I wouldn't want Paige to put herself in a situation like anyone. This is why I was critical of Sting coming back when he first signed with AEW in terms of the ability to do matches. I wouldn't want Paige to put herself into a position where it's a case of, the doctor's still saying, look, it's a massive risk. I don't know if I'd risk it. I don't want Paige to put herself in that position because I don't want to see anyone get paralyzed or even worse just because they love pro wrestling. But when it's a case of, you look at someone like Edge is the blueprint for it now, isn't he? Again, he was told, you're never going to wrestle again. Not only are you never going to wrestle again, but you have to be careful just by if you fall over at home. Now, he's wrestling at SummerSlam. He wrestled Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. He was in the main event of WrestleMania this year. Anything's possible. Absolutely anything's possible at this point when it comes to the neck injuries and spinal stenosis and what we know and what we didn't know in the past, what we now know now about these neck issues, then anything's possible. Absolutely anything's possible. And the positive thing about Paige is that she does have time on her side. So who knows? I mean, again, a couple of years ago, I'd have said no way. Now, looking at Edge, looking at Sting, why not? Why not? That would be my response to it. Why not? Again, I would just hope that she, the right doctors and she gets the right clearance. Whether or not that in-ring return happens in WWE or it happens somewhere else, that remains to be seen. I think if she can come back, probably WWE would be the best place for her, considering that even though some of the booking decisions and the way they produce television is questionable, they still do have one of the best, if not the best, women's division in the world, and the best women's roster in the world. But if you think about a company like an AEW, of course they could do with a Paige. I still have issues with their women's division, and they've got a bona fide star, I think, in Britt Baker in there, but a Paige coming in, she would certainly suit that AEW audience, I think. And even if not that, she would certainly suit an Impact Wrestling going into the Knockouts division. But this all depends. I mean, Paige said it's not going to happen tomorrow, but she said she's working towards it. Look, Daniel Bryan, it took him, 2.5 years to get medically cleared. Edge, it took, something like, how many years was it in the end? He retired in 2011, and he came back main event in 2020. It took him like 9 years. 9 years for him to come back as well. So this isn't going to be an overnight thing for Paige, but it is something that she's actively working towards. So we'll have to wait and see whether it happens. I hope for her sake, if it makes her happy and she can do it, then she does do it. Because having your passion and your love removed from you at such a young age, it's got to be so difficult to go through. So fingers crossed for her, honestly. Fingers crossed for her. We'll talk about Riddle here, because Riddle, this is why people love to interview Riddle, because he recently did an interview with Graham Matthews of Bleacher Report, and he made some strong words for current WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns after the needle mover comments he made earlier in the month. Now, if you're not familiar with what these needle mover comments are, Reigns did an interview with Ariel Helwani on BT Sport, and he stirred up some controversy when he spoke about CM Punk. He said, when it comes down to it, CM Punk was not as good or as over as John Cena. Wasn't as good as or as over or moved the needle like The Rock. It's just what it was. Now, after SummerSlam, and WWE promoted about how great SummerSlam was and the success of the show when it comes to live global viewership, gate receipts, indoor attendance, merchandise sales, sponsorships, social engagement, etc., Roman Reigns then tweeted, quote, legitimate needle moving. However, Riddle was asked about this, and he said that his pairing with Randy Orton should be getting more recognition and added attention for what WWE did at SummerSlam. He has even gone as far to claim he could beat Roman Reigns up in a, quote, real fight if he wanted to. This is what Riddle had to say, quote, "No disrespect to Roman. He seems like a swell fella, but at the same time, it's like when people say they're a good parent. You know what? If you're a good parent, your kids would be telling you you're a good parent. When he's saying, acknowledge me or I move the needle, no you don't. You're related to The Rock. Shut up. I'm not impressed. I can beat you up in a real fight, so shut your mouth. You're not moving needles. I'm the real stallion. RK Bro is moving the merch. We're moving the needle, and that's it. I don't want to say too much. I'm not trying to get in trouble. I think you probably already have, Riddle. Hey, hats off to him. He's amazing at what he does. I do like what he does, but at the same time, it's like, get off your high horse. You're in that spot for a reason. You're not a bro. You're second generation. I'm first generation." Now, first of all, Riddle, he just can't help himself, can he? He just can't help himself. The guy don't play politics. He don't play politics. Whether it's Goldberg, whether it's Brock Lesnar, whether it's Roman Reigns, I don't know. I don't know if Riddle necessarily was in character when he did that interview. I would lean into saying probably not, because that's just what Matt Riddle does. That Matt Riddle is like that. He is very outspoken when it comes to interviews. As far as saying, oh, RK Bro, we're moving the needle, evidence on Monday Night Raw would say that you're not. That's just the case. Monday Night Raw is still getting 1.8, 1.7. I mean, just after SummerSlam, it got 2 million viewers on USA Network. But logic and evidence, I mean, factual evidence would say that in terms of moving the needle, in terms of rating, that isn't the case. RK Bro selling a ton of merchandise, that's true. But Roman Reigns has sold a ton of merchandise for years, and I'm sure he still is. And he's on a show that's viewed by more people. So if you want to get into a whole, you're not moving the needle, I'm moving the needle, I don't know about that one. I think there is a point to say that Roman Reigns is in that spot for a reason. Of course he's in that spot for a reason. Ever since day one, when he arrived on the main roster with the Shield, they had picked him for that spot. That's always what they had done. He was always going to be smashed over into that spot. CM Punk said it when he left WWE. Even back in 2013, they're saying to him, make sure you feature Roman. Get Roman over. Make sure you get Roman over. Because they had big plans for Roman Reigns. They always had. Yes, it's because he's related to The Rock. Yes, it's because of the look that he has. But also, you have to give him credit in that he has thrived in that spot, certainly, since he's turned heel. So I just think it's funny. It's just Matt Riddle being Matt Riddle, I think. Sometimes he can be very outspoken, and I get that he's got a lot of pride in his work, and I get that he's very proud of what he and Randy Orton are doing with the RK Bro tag team, and they are selling a ton of merchandise. Their merch is great. But to kind of be like, Roman Reigns, you're not moving the needle, I'm moving the needle, that's just not true. It's just not true. An interesting story here is Tessa Blanchard heading to NXT. Now, I know some people are going, what? Well, former Impact World Champion Tessa Blanchard got Twitter buzzing yesterday by sharing a photo in which she could be seen holding a stack of Ted DiBiase's $1 million bills. Now, of course, the $1 Million Man just exited NXT after a brief run with the Black and Gold brand. I guess it's no longer the Black and Gold brand, the multicolored brand. Blanchard's photo might very well be a hint that she's bound for NXT. Now, earlier this month, it was reported by Fightful Select that the NWA had reached out to Blanchard this summer to discuss the possibility of working together. You would think it would probably have been to work on that NWA Empower show, maybe, although she's probably got heat with a lot of people there. Now, the report noted that a deal could not be reached between two sides after talks between them came to a halt. Now, Blanchard, of course, has been a free agent for more than 14 months now, since finishing up with Impact Wrestling in June of last year. Now, it was reported last December by Wrestling Inc. that Blanchard was still celebrating her marriage to Daga and was undecided on her future in the business. It was also reported earlier this year that both Tessa and Daga were in talks with AEW or headed to AEW, but of course, nothing ever came of it. I don't know if this is a hint that she's coming into NXT. WWE have just changed their kind of policy when it comes to who they want to recruit. They're looking for people that aren't independent wrestlers. They're looking for people that don't have a background in pro wrestling. They're looking for sports stars. They're looking for people that are tried out for the NFL or the MLB or the NBA, or they're looking for models or actors or fitness models or whatever it may be. That's what they're looking for. I don't know if they're even looking for someone like Tessa Blanchard anyway, irrespective of the baggage that will inevitably come with her wherever she resigns. I just don't think that WWE are even looking at that profile anymore. I've said previously that I think the most likely place for Tessa Blanchard to end up would be WWE and NXT because they don't care about negative PR, so they'd just be willing to take it on the chin. But as of right now, just nobody's willing to take that shot. And I don't blame them. Because who knows if what came out previously about Tessa Blanchard, who knows if more's to come in the future? Because once you sign Tessa Blanchard, you unearth that stone once again. And all of those stories start to come out again. And again, I can't see her going to AEW. I could have seen her maybe going back to Impact, but the issue there is how things ended. But I could see them doing that. I thought the NWA would be a good fit for her, to be honest with you, because I think that's probably a good place for her to, wherever she goes, she's got to reestablish her reputation. And I think the NWA might have been a good place for her to do that. NXT, I think it just might be Tessa Blanchard just trying to stir people up and get a little bit of attention, to be honest with you. But I really don't see a scenario where Tessa Blanchard is going to sign with NXT in the near future. I just think it would be so anti what WWE are looking for in their talents right now, let alone the baggage that inevitably will come with signing Tessa Blanchard. So I think that's unlikely. We have an update on Goldberg after his injury from SummerSlam. Now, Goldberg said he isn't feeling too well after being the receiving end of a brutal beating at the hands of Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam 2021. The Hall of Famer recently spoke with CarCast and opened up about his physical condition after his loss to Lashley at SummerSlam. The Almighty went after Goldberg's leg, and the match ended via referee stoppage, with the result being in favor of the WWE Champion. Goldberg had the following to say about his well-being after the events of SummerSlam. He said, quote, "I'm dazed and confused and continually limp." Now, I don't know what the situation is with Goldberg and Lashley right now because I know it wasn't announced, but I'm pretty sure at one point the plan was to have like a confrontation between Goldberg and Lashley last Monday night on Raw. It didn't happen. I have no doubts, though. We are going towards Goldberg versus Lashley 2, which will take place at Crown Jewel in October. The reason I say that is because the way they ended SummerSlam, they ended it by a referee stoppage and they had the post-match angle. Then, of course, they had Bobby Lashley locking in the Hurt Lock on Sunberg, Gage Goldberg. So that rematch is coming, and Goldberg said, I'm gonna kill you after the match was over. So they're heading towards a rematch, and I think that rematch happens at Crown Jewel because Goldberg just loves to be part of those Saudi shows because it's all about that mighty dollar, baby. So I think that's where we're going. I thought they might set that up or start setting that up on Raw on last Monday. They didn't. Obviously, they went in a different direction. But make no mistake of it, we're heading towards Lashley versus Goldberg 2. That is happening. I would suggest that whoever Lashley is going to be facing at Extreme Rules, I would probably say maybe Damian Priest. Looks like the most likely opponent right now. They get through with Lashley and Priest, and Lashley retains the WWE Championship once again. That then moves into Goldberg versus Lashley again. Maybe Goldberg comes back on the post-Extreme Rules episode of Monday Night Raw, attacks Lashley, and sets up the match at Crown Jewel. That's happening. That is happening. No doubt about it. No doubt in my mind. Even though Goldberg's contracted to only 2 matches per year, as part of his WWE contract, they obviously can always add on more for a certain amount, for a certain price, whether it's prorated or whatever it may be. That's happening. So Goldberg Lashley is happening. I have no doubts about that. Finally, Smackdown is going to be preempted in October twice. WWE Smackdown on Fox is going to be preempted twice in October due to MLB coverage, according to a report via PW Insider. The first episode will be on Friday, October 15, and the second will be Friday, October 24. Both shows are slated to air on FS1. Ever since Smackdown moved to Fox in 2019, this has been an issue, that every time in October, at least once or twice, they move to FS1. I believe previously the first time it was the Crown Jewel Go Home episode or something like that. They drew 881,000 viewers when they did that, or it's around that kind of period of time. December 18, I think last year, they also were on FS1 and it brought in just over 1 million viewers. I remember the first time it happened, and again, it was like 881,000 viewers on FS1, and people were shocked. Oh my God. And I think Dynamite did more viewers that week, and people were going, see, Dynamite's already outdrawn WWE, and everyone was like, it just aired on FS1. Let's everyone pipe down and calm down a little bit. So, of course, the ratings will be down when it happens, but that's to be expected. That's just that always happens. Of course, if you switch to a cable network, which not everyone has, in comparison to network television, of course the ratings and numbers are going to be down. So people will lose their minds because they do every single time. The numbers will be down when they move to FS1 twice in October. And they'll be like, oh, SmackDown, they're losing viewers. What's going on? What's going on? And then they'll go back to like 2 million viewers when they go back to Fox, and everyone will be like, see, moving back. You can see these things happening. You can see these things happening. But look, guys, as always, it's just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on all these WWE news stories we've spoken about today? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community, drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really does help us out here on YouTube, get the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now. Or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or having come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.